fresh in my mind right now. Dr. Dre, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So that's how we started the podcast.
Welcome to Creative Ops, a podcast for creative people.
Hey, everybody. This week, well, first of all, welcome back. Yay! The show is back. It was a nice little hiatus, and I am ready to go. So, the next couple of weeks are going to be just interviews, no solo shows. This week on the show, I talked to Ashley Nash. Ashley is from Muskegon, Michigan, now lives in Grand Rapids. She studied illustration at Grand Valley State University. She's a freelance illustrator and also the head creative designer at Pharmhouse Wellness, where they've been doing all these art markets that I keep talking about and podcasting about. She is one half of the creative team. I already interviewed Megan Smith before. She's the other half of the creative team at Pharmhouse Wellness that's been putting together all these cool events. Mostly we're going to be focusing on the art market because I'll be there. Ashley's going to have some art out this time. I hope to see you there at Pharmhouse Wellness this Saturday, August 20th, 2022. Got it? All right. So we did this interview outside at Pharmhouse, just like the last time I did one there. So if you hear anything that sounds like cars driving by or whatever, yeah, that's what that is. So enjoy the ambiance and the interview with Ashley Nash. So that's how we started the podcast. All right, let's talk about right off the gate. We'll get into all the farmhouse stuff because that's a big part of why we're here talking.
Yeah.
But I also want to highlight you, the artist, not you, the farmhouse employee.
Okay.
So let's start with that. Again, apologies to all the listeners that have heard this story approximately 50 times now. I got into writing at a young age when I was like middle elementary, early elementary school, and my parents needed a break on the weekends. They would send me to my grandma's house. She would get out a typewriter while she was doing her chores, stack of paper, and write me a story about some cowboys in the Wild West or something like. Okay, and just start knocking out stories. And she was my editor and proofreader and first fan, air quotes fan. Did you have a person or a moment or a class or a whatever that like awakened you to your creativeness? Do you have like that strong first impression, or has it just kind of always been there low key?
Yes and no. Like I guess like the first thing that probably like got me was probably my sister more than anyone else.
Yeah.
But the
Older
first
sister?
person, yeah.
Okay,
But the
I was
person
going to say that's
who-
usually the influence. If it's a sibling, it's the older, not a younger.
Yeah. There's only two of us. She's 4 years older than me. But like we're pretty close, but my mom was probably the first one who like supported me in it, if that makes sense too.
Yeah.
So like when I, as young as I can remember, probably like fourth grade or something like that, in our school back home, there's this thing called like the Poppin' program, which is basically they help kids, especially minorities, people who are underprivileged, get into the fine arts, because usually that's not an opportunity for those kids in public schools too.
Was that kind of around here, or where are you originally from?
That's from Muskegon.
Muskegon,
I grew up in Muskegon.
All right.
And out there in Muskegon Public Schools, they have the Poppin' program, and basically they give you art classes for free pretty much. Huh. And my mom was one of those people who was like very adamant growing up that like she was very strict on, you do 2 curriculars, you play an instrument, and you go to school full time. She's like, that's your job. I don't want to see you home until like 6 o'clock at night for dinner time. And so she always got us into stuff. But the Poppin' program doesn't start for kids. You're not eligible until you're like in at least 8th grade. Because the classes they put you in are like nice classes and like.
So it's not just like guided time while you're finger painting and stuff like that.
Like
it's people like actually challenging you and teaching you technique and.
Yeah. Like you're learning pottery. You're learning how to paint with oils. You're learning how to like create art within a space and like understanding the depth of a plane and all these different things. But basically at the time I was in like 4th, 5th grade and my sister's in these art classes and my mom was just like, you really like this? And I was like, well, yeah, I like this. Like, Asia's making this, she's doing this, I want to do this. Like it started off as like competition, older sister jealousy, but like over time, and my mom realized like as she got me into more things and as she got me into more stuff, she's just like, Ashley, like you can do this if you want. Like you can do this full time. You just gotta try it if you want.
Yeah.
And I did a couple competitions too in like high school and managed to get like first place on nationals for fine art competitions.
What kind of competitions were they? I know of a couple fine art competitions that include everything like poetry, short stories, and all that kind of thing. Was this more of like a I don't know if you were doing like paintings, illustrations, things like that for that kind of stuff, or have you?
So
Hold on, there's a question in there. Were you immediately pulled towards one medium, or were you just like, I'm an art person?
Definitely, I'm an art person.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different possibilities with art in general. It's hard for me to just pull myself away from something and just be like, oh no, I'm only going to focus on this. Like every aspect of it, I love.
Yeah.
And there's some things that I'm definitely better at, and some things that I'm definitely not so good at.
Sure.
Painting, even though I consider myself a muralist, definitely not good at painting, but
really?
I do that all the time. Yeah.
I've heard other people say too that they're like, I'm not a great painter in the sense, but I'm like, but you're a painter, and they're like, well, yeah, I understand. Who was it that was talking to me? Well, he didn't say that he's not a good painter, but he was talking about more like he relies on oh God, I'm sorry, Zach, I just blanked on your name for a second. Zack Snyder. You know Zach?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually was in class with him in college.
Oh yeah. He was I think the first artist that I interviewed, like way back in the single digit episodes.
Oh nice.
Yeah, back when the show was not as good as it is now, but Zach, we'll get you back on again.
He's a cool dude. He's real chill dude.
Yeah, I really like him. We got a chance to hang out a couple times at the Bright Walls Festival.
Oh nice.
Which was cool. He got to do they did a mini mural competition where each muralist painted a parking space.
Oh yeah.
And he did that, and yeah, it was pretty cool. I don't think his won, but I voted for it like 18 times.
He's one of those guys too that like I remember straight out the gate going in college. There's some people who kind of take a break after college and then get back into it. Like he was one of those straight out the gate, like, no, I'm going, and he was doing job after job, and I was like, yeah, let's go, let's see that.
Well, him and Randy Ford too. She went to Grand Valley, I think.
Yeah, I don't think I met her. I don't know who. I know who that is.
Okay.
Or him.
No, it's a Randy with an I female.
Okay.
Yeah, and she does really, really cool stuff too. I'll show you some of her stuff. But both of them said, and I don't know how you feel, that Grand Valley was great as far as like showing them how to make art and how to like express yourself, but you had to really like be 100% invested personally in learning the business part of it. That's not really any part of the education.
See, and I guess those people are probably people who came in after me a few years after, because there were quite a few professors that changed out after I graduated and stuff. And I see the opposite, actually, because there were a lot of people that we had before us. Like, I don't know if you know Bobby Manquin or not, but he's also an artist, but he lives on the east side now, went to Grand Valley too. A lot of those people there, a lot of people I graduated with were like, yeah, they taught us how to like get things done and how to like put your website out there, get your portfolio, get your business cards, connect with people, networking, all this good stuff. But like, I didn't learn a lot about technique. Like I learned about technique and expressing in my first year and my second year.
Yeah.
But as soon as I got to like my focus on illustration and like fine art and metalsmithing, there wasn't a whole lot of like expression, I guess, if that makes sense, or like creativeness. Like there was that. They were telling you that. We had fantastic critiques. I probably never had such great critiques except for at Grand Valley, but to me it seemed like they were more about like the business aspect, or at least in my illustration classes, than they were about everything else.
Interesting. Yeah, one of them, I can't remember which one now, sorry guys, had said that there were like a couple classes you could take, but as a whole it was kind of like, unless you sought it out, it wasn't really put on a plate for you. But maybe maybe like you said, if they came after you, maybe people were like,
hey, man, I want more focus on just the art.
and they were like, all right.
Yeah, because we did have that too. I do remember, like, when we first started our illustration classes, our professors, when they first started out, it was also their first year at Grand Valley too, being our professors.
Okay.
And they asked us, like, what do you want from this class? What are you looking for? And all of us talked about business stuff and what we wanted and what we were.
We want to know what to do when we leave here.
Yeah, like, we want to be equipped, make
Yeah.
sure we know what we're doing, and that's what they focused on for us. But, like, we didn't, like, we learned a little bit about art. We did critiques, but it was mostly like, yeah, you can do that. Like, your art doesn't need to be great. Like, look at this guy who pretty much did the storyboards for all of Star Wars, and they're like line sketches you can barely understand what's going on unless you've like seen the scenes. You're like, oh, that's what he's drawing. Like, he's like, you don't have to be a great artist. You just need to get your art out there.
Yeah.
Just do this and this. Like, you'll get there.
Yeah. This is starting to go kind of off topic from where we started, but I was just listening to, God, I think it was the Steve-O's podcast of all places is where I go for my depth. But he was saying that in all of his experience and all the things he's seen, the people who are the most successful are not, sometimes they are, but they're not always like just the most talented and the smartest people. It's the people who are the most passionate that can like get shit on, keep going and still be enthusiastic about it.
Exactly.
And he even said something like, you know, you break down the Latin of enthusiasm and it's and theos, or I might be getting that all fucked up too, but it means with God. Like that's the root of enthusiasm. So it's kind of like, you know, passion is the driving force of the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Like, because I feel like a lot of people who are making art and who are being known for it, they're not, so to speak, like the best artists in the world.
Yeah.
Not to at all like knock their talent in any way, shape, or form.
Right. No, and a lot of them say that same thing. Oh, I'm not the most talented.
Yeah, they're not the
I'm
most
the most
talented.
recognizable, maybe, but I'm not the most talented.
Yeah, but if you look at like their track record of how much they tried and failed versus how much they won, like they've won a lot of great things. They've done a lot of great things, but also how many times did they fail to get to that point?
Yeah.
And a lot of people fail long before they get there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not to say that you're never going to succeed, but like you can't know if you're going to succeed if you give up too early.
Yeah.
You got to keep going.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, which let's move into this as a topic. A lot of people, regardless of what you want to do, whether you want to write books, whether you want to be an illustrator, whether you want to be the number one whatever it is in the world, you tell somebody that you've got some lofty dream, and the first thing most people are going to do is shit on it and be like, okay, but what's your backup plan?
Exactly.
Or, okay, well, that's nice. You know, I wanted to do something crazy like that when I was a kid too, but you got to be realistic. You got to think about, you know, you got to earn enough money for your Social Security so that you're getting paid out when you're like, hold on.
Yeah.
I'd rather just be happy all my life and be like, oh, money's tight, but that's why I got 4 kids.
Exactly. Exactly.
So did you have, I mean, you said your mom was always, and that's awesome that you had a parent that was driving you towards your passions. But did you experience people at all along your path that are like, hey man, you know, art's not really going to take you anywhere?
And that's where my dad comes in, because he was that guy.
Yeah.
He's not, it's not like he was like down on me or anything like that, but he's just kind of like,
Well, yeah, you're good at what you do. I like what you do, but, like, you know, computer-aided designs probably pays a little better. You can actually pay the bills that way. That's a reliable job.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, yeah, but like that's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah, but you know, you can get into engineering. You can get into this. You're a smart person. You got all these skills. You could do it.
He never, like he was always wary.
Yeah.
Cautiously. It made sense.
Out of love, like he wanted you to be set up and taken care of.
Exactly. Like he cared, but he was always like, he never really jumped on the train with me until like I got the train bridge job in Muskegon. When I got that job, which he helped me get, by the way, too, because that was a city organized job. They were.
What did you say? It's Train Bridge?
Yeah, the
Okay.
Muskegon Train Bridge project.
Okay.
They basically there's like 5 or 6 train bridges that go across like Seaway Drive in Muskegon, and they'd been there for as long as I can remember, longer than I've been around.
Yeah.
And they've just been like these rusted out bridges with nothing on them. And so they finally decided, I think it was last year or the year before, they finally decided like, hey,
Let's do something about this. Let's change it.
so they put out put out some wanted ads pretty much to get some artists to paint them, and they got it city funded, and they had 4 separate artists to go up there and paint those train bridges. I was lucky enough to get voted by the public for one of them. Same with the other 3; they got voted for them too.
Did you just go on like a personal social media campaign? Like,
Hey, vote for me, guys.
or like,
yeah. And my dad, like, he's a big help too because he's in county commission Muskegon, so
okay.
he's spreading the word for me.
Hey, by the way, don't forget to vote for Ashley.
he knows the people, he's at the meetings.
Yeah,
and
he's at all the meetings.
Hey, by the way, you can hit it.
And it's, I think when that kind of like changed that corner for him, and
Yeah.
he kind of also saw like the
When he saw
potential
other people
with it.
getting stoked about what you were doing.
Yeah, and he's like, you know what, like,
You can do this.
and like next thing you know, now he's sending me just.
Hey, by the way, they're looking at a mural job for this one. Hey, you should check this out today.
So like he's always been there, but he was always the one who was just like, or at least like the rational one, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
always like, hey, think about this first. I get what you're saying, but like, come on, pay
That's cool.
attention.
Both of my parents are the rational ones. They're both like,
Wait, you quit teaching? You
Don't let your certificate expire.
You let your certificate expire?
Well, now what are you going to do?
You're gonna get go get a job with the state.
Great benefits.
They don't have the pension anymore.
I'm like, I think I'm just going to keep writing books and doing this podcast. So like,
Yeah, but it's not. It's working for you. Like, why not? And like you said, I'd rather be happy every day.
Yeah.
Going home, being happy because I'm making art now 100% of the time. I'd rather be drawing all day at work and getting stuff done than go and work in a cubicle and hate my life all
Yeah.
day.
Bruh.
Which, if you like working in a cubicle, like no knocks to that, like at all.
yeah, no. I'm as far as just, money coming in versus money going out. I'm as poor as I've ever been right now in my life, and I don't stress drink anymore. You know what I mean? I used to stress drink when I was making more money and was doing better than I am now. I did air quotes
Same.
around better again.
Same.
But yeah, and then since then I'm like, oh, I don't even need to drink anymore.
Yeah.
People are like, did you go to a party naked or something? I'm like, no, I just
No.
didn't want to do it anymore.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's amazing what that can do for you when your circumstances change like that.
Yeah. Well, and it's weird too that, well, like you were saying, like all of a sudden, your dad has a switch, and then he starts talking to people. When you put yourself out there and you're like, I think you probably have to take a couple shots and show that you're going to keep going with it. And then people go,
You know what? This person's serious.
what's up?
Yeah.
Versus, the rest of your life, you sit around doing, I don't want to say nothing, but, you're not doing something creative that people get like, ooh, tell me about it.
Same.
And
Yeah.
then, then you just start existing, and other people exist with you, and you exist together.
Yep.
But, the minute I was like, oh, I've got a podcast, people are like, oh, really? I know a person that you might be interested in talking to, or I've got a book out. Oh, really? Well, I know somebody that might edit that for you. I'm just like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever been this excited for anything else I've done, even though it's, quote, more successful. So, yeah.
That's awesome though. That's amazing though, because I mean I feel the same way about that. Like there's so many people in the art community that like you connect with when you just kind of spread that word. Like, hey, yeah, I'm working on this project. I'm looking at getting some extra help so I can finish.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
I got some people that I used to work with. I know they're looking for this and this job. They can help you paint. They can help you do this. They can help you with some. Just yeah, sure. Awesome.
All of a
Great.
sudden, something that you were looking at and you're like, man, that might cost me $500-$600 to do it myself. People are like,
Dude, I'll do it for half price.
Hey, man, I got some extra stuff. You can have it.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
Just buy me lunch. We'll be good.
yeah.
and you're like, awesome, great, thanks.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I can't stress enough to people, if you are passionate about something, do it.
Please.
And even if you're not putting yourself out there with it, just do it for the sake that it makes you feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
You get weird, like, if you haven't done creative stuff for, say, like, I don't know how long you go. I might go like 2 weeks without writing because I've got the podcast, or it's summer and I've been doing family stuff. And I just start walking around like with my shoulders up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Who wants something from me? What? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Because my boyfriend notices this right away. He picks up on it all the time. I get very grumpy.
Yeah.
I just get very grumpy.
The
I get
creative grump, yeah.
Yeah, the creative grump, that angst where you just kind of get a little snippy. Like,
Hey, do you wanna go get a drink from like the kitchen and all?
I don't know. Do you want to go get it yourself? Like, it's like, that was uncalled for. Like, what's going on? You need to make something. That's what happens. You need to make something.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife and I, if anybody just walked in on my wife and I having a normal conversation, they would be like, oh my God, that guy's such an asshole. Because we'll say things to each other that we know we're both not being 100% serious. But she'll say something to me like,
Hey, go get that.
and I'll be like, you go get it. And she'll just be like,
I hate you.
and I'll be like, I hate you. But like, we don't. But
Well, yeah, it's love.
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah.
all it is. Like, that's exactly, like,
oh,
we
you're
always,
so stupid.
You're stupid.
Yeah, because we always joke to each other, like, the only time that we ever argue or get angry at each other is if we're hungry or we haven't made art in a while. Those are the only two times.
Yeah.
We're always, like, poking at each other and stuff, but the rest of the time we're having a great time. That's why he'll just be like,
Hey, look, when was the last time you made something?
Yeah, it's either hangry, horny, or creative ret.
yep. There you go.
Yeah, those will throw you off your game.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've been making dice lately. I've been making like D&D dice, like resin dice and stuff. Yeah.
Those multi-sided, well, D&D are 12-sided, right?
Depending on which ones you're using, depending on what moves you're making and stuff.
Look at you out nerding the sci-fi writer. Good job.
Oh, I'm not out nerding that much. Just getting into it because, like, so my boyfriend's really into D&D. He's been getting me into it, which is like so much fun. It's a blast. I don't know why I've waited so long. But usually, like, you have like 7 dice. Some of them you use for certain moves or like for certain actions, depending on what you're trying to do. But they're like, and all 7 of them have different sides on the dice. But I've been looking online and like people make some cool things with dice. Like, if you haven't looked, like, and anyone who's listening too, like, go ahead and just look up D&D dice, custom or handmade, and people put like flowers in them. They'll put like little figurines in them.
That's
they
awesome.
put like little sceneries, like all sorts of like different design stuff out there, and they're pretty cool. And I just realized too, like, there aren't many people in this area in Grand Rapids that are like selling custom dice out here,
Yeah.
or like enjoying that. And I just like how they're like little tiny little mini universes, pretty much on them. And I'm starting to make those. And Cody's been kind of, my boyfriend, by the way, he's been kind of like poking me like, hey, so when's that next batch of dice going to be dropped on this? When are you going to finish this and everything? I'll hopefully have those done by the artist market, so you'll be able to see those.
Yeah. You guys are you and Megan both going to put stuff out this time?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Nice.
don't know if Megan, I know her and I have both talked about it a couple different times. I'm definitely like, I'm getting my dice stuff ready. I'll have some prints and everything. I'll have some stickers ready too. But hopefully my D&D dice will be ready by then as well. I just need to just sit my butt down and just sand away, and then we'll be good.
Yeah. Oh man, I just started thinking like, man, you could sell those. You could sell them online. You could go to all the used game stores and card stores and be like, hey man, you guys want to?
Yeah, hopefully you'll see them in Vault of Midnight.
Yeah.
And then also Galactic Toys. Those are, I've talked to a couple people at both of those.
Galactic Toys is out kind of by the mall.
Yeah, off of like 28th and East Beltline over there.
Yeah.
I'll hopefully be able to talk to a couple people and get them on the shelves out there.
That'd be
Vault
awesome.
of Midnight's probably like the best bet right now.
Yeah,
That's what
Vault of
I'm hoping
Midnight,
for.
downtown Grand Rapids comic book shop. That's, I don't know how long it's been around, but it's like,
A couple years.
if you ask somebody
Few
like,
years.
hey, is there a good comic shop downtown? Like,
That's the place
that's
to
the
go.
one.
Yeah.
they got racks and racks and racks, man.
Yeah, they've got one even too. I think they have one in Detroit and Lansing as well. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure they have one there too.
Ooh, you know what? I'll have to look for that because I'm originally from the 517.
There you
so
go.
next time I'm in Lansing visiting family and friends or whatever, I'll have to look for their Vault of Midnight.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I didn't know they had one.
Yeah, they've got some cool stuff. But what I like about this one, I don't know if the other ones are doing it too, but they always carry like local artists.
Yeah.
And like local art here, and like I just saw some like local made handmade dice up there, and I was like, well, let me get mine in here too. Let's try.
Yeah. it's great to see that too, like the stuff that you guys are doing back here with Pharmhouse and other people supporting local art, because it's not that the community around here doesn't appreciate art from just like a, oh, that looks nice perspective, but it doesn't seem to really get behind actually supporting artists. You know, you'll see a lot of people that are like, hey, you want to be a part of this thing? Yeah. How much does it pay? Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, will you pay for my materials? No, but you'll get a lot of exposure.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I get a lot of those jobs. A lot of like people who will kind of come to me and,
Hey, by the way, we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this. We'd love to have you be here. Okay, awesome.
great. So, how much is it paying?
Oh, this is completely, like, donated by you. This is completely, like, and
Which by like I would love to do donation stuff, but like just like every other artist out there, like we're all starving artists.
yeah,
Like
yeah, we need donations.
there's not a lot of donation I can give. Like
Yeah.
I'll do my best, and I've definitely done my fair share for sure. And there's more to give out there, but like we can't give everything. Like
Yeah.
it's not.
I can give $5 or $10 to lions and rabbits or something like that.
Yeah,
you know, but like
I can give my
not
few
enough to
bucks.
get something named after me.
Yeah, exactly. I can't paint a whole mural for free. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to do a whole thing for free. Like
Yeah,
that's
those murals, man. Like I watched a little bit of some of the people at the Bright Walls Festival last year, and people really don't think about how long you're standing there holding down a can of spray paint with your arm outstretched, trying to make this huge vision come to life.
Yeah.
It's a physical task.
Oh yeah, it's an endeavor. Like I just finished one. He just booked me for like another side of his building to get painted, but I just finished one out in Montague. It's like Oh Brothers Restaurant.
Okay.
He's gonna turn it into like a destination spot with like 10-foot skeletons and like big Bigfoot structures and like all sorts of stuff on it.
That's cool.
But I did a mural for him, and like I started that back in October last year on the weekends because I work here full time, and I had to put that on hold through the winter and then start it back again in April. So like I've been working on this job, just finished it in July, and I'd just been working Saturdays and Sundays. I mean, you could do the math on figuring out the days on that, but like that's not an easy job.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's fun. It's a blast. I'm so like, it's not as much work because I'm painting, and this is what I want to do, and I'm enjoying this. But like, it doesn't mean that I'm not like sweating my tits off out there. I'm still out there in 98-degree heat, like,
trying to lift up that 18th bottle of spray paint. You're like,
my finger. Oh, Charlie horse. Like but like, I mean, the moment you finish that last stroke, though. Or
Yeah.
like you finish that sealant on there or whatever it is that you're finishing, and you look at that whole thing, like the sense of accomplishment and like the excitement of just being like, yeah. This is here now to stay. How many people are gonna come by? Like I finished the one, and there's a little Bigfoot guy on it, kind of, and there's a guy who like as soon as I finish it, he poses right up in front of it, right next to him. I was like, that's awesome. Like those little things, like that's what you do it for.
And that's really cool when you see people interacting with it too. I remember I talked to one of the co-founders of that festival. He said that he came up with the idea to just paint a hand on a peace sign on like
nice.
a garage door.
Yeah.
And he was hoping that people would, walk up to it and yeah, he said, you look on Instagram at pictures that people have tagged, and there's just hundreds of people doing the peace sign in front of the hand.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, it's cool when art is more than just like, oh, that looks cool. Oh, hey, I got to get in on that.
Yeah. Like it's and like it happens without you having to say a word.
Yeah.
Without you having to be like, hey, I want you to go. Like they do it completely by themselves. Like that's amazing. That's cool that can have that effect on a person like that.
For sure.
Like it. And you don't plan that stuff half the time. Like sometimes you plan it, but like I didn't plan on that. I wasn't thinking about that. I just have this giant.
It was a Bob Ross happy
figure.
accident.
Yeah, he's just hairy. Like, what do you expect? And this guy, like, not even 2 minutes after I finished, he's like already up there. I was like, I wonder how many times this might happen.
It's probably happened more times than you can imagine right now.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. If that one guy thought of it right there,
many more will.
you get a whole family lined up, doop, doop, doop.
Doot, 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 and they're all doing the same pose, like the caveman,
the
to
over the shoulder.
human.
Everybody knew exactly what we were talking about as soon as we made that noise too.
That's great. But yeah, it's I love what like art can do to people sometimes. Like it's just fun. It's just fun.
okay, so we got through like Grand Valley, and then one of the first big things that you did after that was the bridge.
Yeah.
And then take us from that point on where you're like, okay, I guess I'm a professional artist now, to kind of like how you got tied up doing the thing you're doing here.
Yeah, so I that's not too far away. It was about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, for that train bridge project. That was which, by the way, it's like 120 feet by 9.5 feet tall. So it's massive. It's huge. So that took a long time.
Well, that wasn't necessarily your first professional job. But
well, it's not, okay, so it's not the first professional job. I've had a bunch of jobs.
Because I made it sound like that turned you into a professional artist.
But I mean, like, at the same time, you're not far off. Like, that was the job that, like, changed my career for me.
Yeah.
Because before that, I was working as a store manager. I was working at a factory and, like, doing all part-time stuff, like, barely getting in gigs, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And then that job happened, and right after that, I got the Montague job started. Which that one was kind of fun.
Is that the one from your Instagram that's got like you with your mask hanging down and it's like right behind you, kind of over your shoulder, and you're just...
Yeah, I think that one's the train bridge one. It's like orange and green and white, kind of, and blue.
I'd have to look at it.
But that one I'm pretty sure is from the train bridge. There's another one that's like red, blue, white, and beige, and that one is the Montague one, and then. After that, it's mostly been just, like, little jobs in between, mostly, like, commission jobs. I was working on one for a friend. She's basically getting, like, a memorial type of thing for her family members, for her grandpa, because they just passed. And I can't entirely explain it, but I know that they had 4, like, symbols that were really important to them. It was, like, a pigeon, a golfer, a Scrabble piece, and sun. And she had some... cool meaning for it, but I can't quite entirely remember what it was.
Yeah.
But I was working on that, and like now I am currently starting to work on...
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the Montague job. Yeah, that's the Montague job.
Oh, it's not... I thought it was a mask that you had, but it's your headphones.
Oh, yeah.
My memory abandoned me for a second.
All right, you're good. That one, yep, that's the Montague one. The one I have coming up, though, that I'll hopefully be starting pretty soon, will be with the Civic Theater in Muskegon.
Oh, cool.
They found me, too, on Instagram, and
you still got family there, too, so you're kind of rooted there a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I feel like the Muskegon community knows me a little bit more than the Grand Rapids, but I'm trying to get through here as much as I can in Grand Rapids. But, the Civic Theater contacted me out there, and I'm putting some budgets together, getting some information together for them. But that one should be a big one, too, because... Like, the Civic Theater is a little special to my heart.
It's going to be, like, on the outside of it or inside of it? Or?
Yeah, on the outside of it. You'll see it. Right. It'll be, like, the whole front end of their foyer, their garage door, and then they have, like, 6 windows. But everything's, like, 2.5 feet by, like, 12 feet tall. And then the big front foyer is like 9 feet tall by like 38 feet long.
Oh, shoot. So you're going to need maybe a little bit more than just a scissor lift for that part.
Oh, yeah. A little bit more for that one. So that one will be a lot more, a lot of fun, too. I'm excited because it's in Muskegon. It's my hometown. It's one of those places that, one, I didn't even know was operable. Yeah. Like, it's one of those where, like, you know those buildings you see that never have cars in their parking lot?
Yeah.
It's one of those buildings. And we walk by it every day on my way to school growing up, and it's cool to be able to... They contacted me and be able to do that for them. Like, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be cool.
Well, I guess let's talk about Pharmhouse then. So you've got those jobs, the past jobs, the stuff that's coming up. How does any of that come into play here? Did they like,
hey, we need an artist?
And you reached out to them on that, or were they like,
hey, we saw that you did this?
Or what was kind of the story of how you got on Casey's radar?
Yeah, so I was home during COVID. Mm-hmm. When everyone was quarantining and stuff.
No, I don't remember
that. I was, how could you forget? I've been home for like almost a year. I'm one of those people who's like what do you call it? I forget the word for it, but I have asthma, pretty much. I'm more susceptible.
Asthmatic?
Yeah. And so I'm more susceptible to getting COVID and that being dangerous for me. So I was able to stay home for it.
Yeah.
And then right towards the end of it, finally got a vaccine, was able to get a job, worked here as a bud tender.
Yeah.
And that was right before the Muskegon Train Bridge was going to start. And like I kind of told them when I got hired in, hey, I got this happening in May. It should be going through June. And I'll need time off from work from that. Are you okay with that? And they're like,
Yeah, that's fine. But hey, by the way, I see your resume here's got illustration and graphic design and muraling and all this stuff.
and I was like, yeah. Do you need that? And they're like,
Well, we have someone here, but like we don't know, like maybe in the future or something like that.
And so I finished the train bridge job. They saw what I did with that. They really liked what I was doing with that. And then a few months later, in like September, Casey came by and he's like,
Hey, so how you feel about a part-time gig? You want to do part-time graphic design for us? You want to do something?
It's funny. I can just hear him saying that, like in his voice too, the way you're phrasing.
yeah, like,
You know, I got an offer for you.
and of course I was like, yeah, I'll do that. I finished my bachelor's in fine arts at Grand Valley with a focus in illustration.
Yeah. So once you had that, were you like, oh, let me go try to find a job as an illustrator now? Or...
Oh yeah. Oh, that was constantly happening when I got out of college. Like I was pressing constantly for jobs. I had applied for hundreds of jobs over and over. Because I also like come from a family who didn't have a lot at the time. And like finding something, there wasn't like I could fall back and be like, yeah, you know, I'll be okay if I don't find work. Like I can sit 2-3 months and keep looking for work.
Right.
Like I didn't have that possibility. I didn't even have a car at that time. I was like 26 without a car, and so like I'd been applying for jobs and applying for jobs and applying for jobs. And just couldn't get anything. Was constantly putting stuff out there, just couldn't get anything.
Yeah.
And then I started working. Got lucky. My mom gave me her whole car when she got a car, and which was incredibly lucky, by the way. Because I was crying on the phone. I was like, I can't get a job because I don't even have a car.
Yeah.
Like they're denying me because I don't even have a car. And so she came out, she bought herself a new car. She needed one and then brought me her car. Huh. And right after that, like a few days later, I got the job as a store manager for the Griffins. Oh. And they found out I did art too. So I did some illustration work with them. And not the Griffins themselves, but like the people who manage the store, they own that shop and everything.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of artwork for them, doing a lot of graphic design, t-shirt design for like all these farm teams around the nation and stuff. Did all this stuff for them, and they never came back to me on like pay for it. So I did like 8 months worth of work and never got paid for it, like the entire time I was there. And it's not the Griffins institution; it's the company who owns the store there.
Yeah.
And
which I've heard
like,
a lot of creative people of varying different backgrounds, not just the visual artists, get screwed over. They're like,
hey, so what about pay?
No.
Yeah, and like for because I worked as like their store manager, where I like ran that entire store. I hired people, did the money, did everything else too, and then I did the graphic design on the side for them. And she's like,
yeah, we'll pay you when we feel like you've done a lot of work.
And as soon as she said that, and she had been baiting me for like months, like,
yeah, we haven't decided.
And then finally, like, it hit like the 6th or 7th month, and she's like,
yeah, we'll pay you when we feel like we've done a lot of work.
And I was like, okay. So I just stopped. I was like, I'm not going to continue this anymore. So that kind of like killed a lot of stuff for me for a while, and I took a break from art for like 2 years. I ended up working a lot of factory jobs and then doing a lot of like mini freelance. I did some stuff for Speak Vegan, which is like another smaller vegan company out here in Grand Rapids. And then there are a couple other design jobs. I was designing tattoos, was doing some book covers, just like random stuff, whatever I could get. Yeah. And then once COVID happened, I had to take a break. And that's when I both hate and despise COVID, but also incredibly thankful for it, just because of without that opportunity, I wouldn't have been able to put forth the effort and the time that I wanted into my art, which got me where I could with the train bridge.
Yeah, for sure.
And like other jobs too. Like that amount of free time that I had, I was able to just focus and get things done and constantly create. I was able to like sell stuff out of my house, like on Etsy and a couple other things. And I was just like, you know what, like, let's go. Like it's finally picking up. Like I'm finally having the time that I wanted to commit to my art. And that's when the train bridge happened right after that. And it was a little bit harder leading up to that point, but now I'm getting somewhere with some stuff with a few jobs, the Civic Theater, and Casey happened to see that work too and appreciated that, so it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Just thinking about the COVID stuff, though, too. Like, I also hate the pandemic. The first maybe 6 months of it, because from like February all the way into like the fall, it just felt like some kind of weird science fiction horror movie. You know, like, I remember thinking, like, are we all just gonna slowly start dying? Like, are we ever gonna be able to go into public again without like bathing ourselves before and afterwards? And it was really, really getting to me. But I had actually started this podcast in February 2020.
Wow, really?
Like, a week and a half maybe before everything went locked down.
Wow.
And when I had first started doing the podcast, it was all kind of like, I'll do one when I can, you know. And then all of a sudden it was like, well, this is what I have right now. And it became very serious. And then the more serious I became about it, the better the show started to sound, the more people wanted to come on it. And then I was also able to focus on getting the book out and met a bunch of people that helped me do that through the podcast. So same way, man, I might just be some goofy asshole sitting in his living room with nothing much going on if it hadn't been for that. It'd be a guy that tried a podcast but gave up after a month because I was too busy doing X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like when you have a full-time job, it's hard to commit to what you want to do in your free time because a lot of that time you're like,
I want to sleep.
Yeah.
I want to play video games. I want to watch TV.
like
I do all those things.
Yeah, like exactly. Same here. Like you want to do everything else but that. It's not that you don't want to do your art. It's just like I want to rest.
Yeah,
pretty much. But like getting that free time in between there, you're left with your thoughts. You're left by yourself. You're left without communicating with other people. Let's channel that energy into something then.
Yeah.
What's something you've been waiting to get to all this time? Your art, your writing, your podcast. Like I hate it because it's such a terrible time for so many people, especially like just the nation and like what happened and how it affected so many people.
Oh man, I feel bad for all the people that were following their passions with small businesses and had to slowly just let people go, shut down.
Exactly. Like for me, it was such a it's bittersweet, but a great time because it got so much better. I feel bad for everyone else who had to deal with it, but I am thankful for at least what it gave me.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people have said that it was kind of like a jump start to society.
Yeah.
And, you know, the moment sucked, but if we can historically look back on it and go, oh, you know what, a lot of things actually changed for the better from that, then that'll be a good thing. It's just hard to see that when you're in the middle of the shittiest part.
Yeah, when you're just like too busy. Like I just want to have a taco for once in my life. That
do I have to wash these Frosted Flakes before I eat them?
Like, can I just, I don't know, open a door with my hand? I don't want to.
Oh man, walking around with my kids, I was like, don't touch that.
Yeah.
Hand sanitizer.
And the dryness on your hands from the amount of washing you've done. Like, it's definitely don't want to go back to it, but like glad we're headed in a better direction now, at least. Glad for that.
Curious just a little bit about being a bud tender, because so far, well, I talked to Loiso too, but I've talked to you and I talked to Megan, and I don't know Lou's whole story, but you guys both have college degrees and both worked slinging weed for a little while.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would stereotype that job as like, oh, well, these are people that just love weed and can't get any other jobs, or people that, would have been bagging groceries, but instead they're doing this. It's like, no, like there's intelligent, educated people doing this job that, still has a little bit of a stereotype, not just around the job, but around weed in general.
Yeah.
So what kind of people have you met as a bud tender, like other bud tenders? People come from art backgrounds, people that have college degrees, people that come from other countries. Like it seems like there's not a type of person, but
exactly,
they don't seem dumb or lazy.
I mean,
which is like the stoner stereotype, right?
Well, yeah, like I feel like you're right on the money. I feel like, okay, so like, yes, there are the potheads out there. Like, we're not going to ignore them. They exist.
Yeah, and Megan had said that there have been people that started working here and it became obvious, like, ooh, you know what? You're a little bit too into the culture, maybe.
Yeah, like the majority, like honestly, honestly, not even the word majority. Everyone who works here, like, yes, we may smoke a lot of weed, like, or eat or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call any of us potheads. I wouldn't call a single person in the shop a pothead, just because of their background, what they're doing with their lives, what they want to do with their lives, where they're headed to, and like just the way that they carry themselves. Like these are people that are, like you said, educated, or they have aspirations. We have people who are coming in and out constantly. Alex, I forget her last name, but Alex was just here. She's starting her own personal business right now. She worked here because, like, this is what worked with her schedule. She loves weed too, and this was probably one of the best work environments she'd ever been in. This is one of the best work environments I've ever been in.
I know. I almost want to get a job here because people will be like, man, I smoked weed and it just made me too paranoid. And I'm like, was it indica or sativa? And they're like, huh? I'm like, all right, we need to talk, buddy.
And like, let's be honest, like when you work here, like your knowledge of marijuana is fantastic. Like it expands so much. Yes, I probably smoke way more weed now than I ever have before when I didn't work here. But I also know what I'm doing more with my weed. Like, if you asked me before, and I didn't know what I was smoking. I didn't know what I had. I just knew I had weed.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it was. But, like, now, like, I know what, okay, so
you can find a strain of weed that'll do the same thing to you that a cup of espresso will do to you.
Exactly.
I got my little, where is it? I got my vape here somewhere.
Well, I got some, oh, there it is right there.
Did it fall on the ground?
Yeah.
I've got some New York City diesel sativa in there, and you smoke some of that, and you feel a little tickle in your brain.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you just go right on doing your shit.
Oh, yeah. Like, I have this is like my little joint case, kind of. I like pre-roll.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Pre-roll my pre-rolls. And, but, like, the strawberry gelato is a fantastic strain. I know we sell them for, like, $100 ounces here right now. But that one's one that, like, I will only smoke in the morning time right before I'm about to get back to work. Because that is something where it gets me just high enough to where I can focus and zone out. And by the time I check the clock again, it's like 3:45. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I missed lunch. Like, but at least I got my work done. Sorry if I swear and stuff. But
oh, no, you can fucking swear all the time.
But yeah, like weed is something that, like, when you get here and you start working here, you really learn a lot about it, and you know, like, how to curate it for yourself. Like, this I know is going to make me do this, and this. I don't want to smoke this right now. Yeah. I am going to smoke that though, because I can get my work done. Yeah.
I'm feeling a little down. I'm going to smoke that.
Yeah,
I got some shit to catch up on, and I need no interruptions. I'm going to smoke a little of this. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I want to forget my name. I just want to zone out completely and feel like I'm in that video game.
Yeah,
I got some for that too.
There's definitely something for everything, and you don't really know until you, like, spend the time to actually educate and research and know what you're looking for. If you know anything about terpenes and you know what terpenes you like, that is like the money pot right there. Mm-hmm. That's a gold mine. Once you reach that point, the world just expands exponentially, and you just can't. Like, it's great. It's fantastic.
And maybe you can help me here with some of your knowledge. I'm actually not a medical patient anymore. My card expired. I need to get a new one.
Oh, it's okay.
But I got into, like, more of the sciencey part of weed. Mm-hmm. When I was like, you know what, I actually need this because, like, if I straighten my leg out right now, you'll hear it go crack, 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 crack in my knee. Like, it's gross. My whole left leg is messed up. So I was like, I need to get weed that will help me when I'm being physical, like running or just, having a physical day, something that's going to make that inflammation stay down. So they're like, anything with the limonene terpene in it, that's your friend. I was
Yeah.
like, sweet. But I still don't know what my favorite strain is or anything like for just like party. Let's get high. Like,
Yeah.
But I could tell you like 5 different sativa strains where I'm like, oh, I can smoke green crack and do my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can smoke super lemon haze and do my thing. I can
Yeah.
smoke NYC diesel and do my thing.
See, I'm a little bit opposite from you. I'm more of the caryophyllene and myrcene person. I will do some lime or limonene. Some people say limonene. Some people say limonene. I don't know what it is.
I don't know, but we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
The lime one.
Yeah. I'm definitely
Lemonade.
more of the caryophyllene and myrcene. Those are like typically the indicas. But like, get me a strawberry gelato, any ice cream one, a gelato one, a runts one too, and then GMO, which many people don't know, stands for garlic, mushroom, onion.
Not genetically modified organism.
Yeah. But like GMO also too is another great one. That one's like my favorite for like a mellow, chill, relax evening, or just like hardcore gaming. Get me a concentrate and a dab of a GMO, and I will like hardcore game on Apex all day long.
Did you ever play Fortnite?
Yes. I'm just getting back into it, actually, because all my friends are like, play with me. And I was like, yeah, no one will play Apex, so sure.
I feel like a lot of people that play Apex started on Fortnite, and then were like, I'm tired of playing against 5-year-olds.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Like, I feel like, so I moved up the tiers. I went from Fortnite to Overwatch to Apex Legends. And after Apex Legends, you go back to any of those games, you're just kind of like, well, this is fun. It's kind of easy now, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But like, it's not bad. Like, I love them all. They're all great. They're all great for different reasons.
Yeah, I interviewed a gamer named Pete, cool guy, Pete Spalding. Look for that one, people. And same thing. He's like, yeah, I started on Fortnite, but Apex was just a little bit more challenging, a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
And doesn't have as many kids.
Yeah.
Gotcha, noob!
Yeah. Or like you hear like their mics on in the background. It's some
Tommy, get off the game! Stop playing anymore. Go home. Do your homework.
I don't know how many random people have heard me telling my kids, hey, now. Yeah, look, you got till 5, and then I'm turning it off.
Okay.
Click.
exactly. It's a lot of that, but like it's still fun though. I like to go on there just to like goof around and complete all the challenges a lot of the time for Fortnite.
I've only played it a couple of times. My one kid, especially my oldest boy, he's into it. But I'll sit and watch him play because he's good.
Yeah.
Like somebody will come shooting at him, and all of a sudden he's just building stuff, and all of a sudden he's 20 feet up in the air and he's shooting down at them. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Those guys are like pros. I can't keep up with those guys.
Yeah. He's
Those-
like,
Dad, I'm cranking 90s.
I'm like, I don't know what that means, man, but go for it.
Yeah. Because those are the guys that make me laugh, because when I forget that I'm playing that mode, I'll go run up on someone just like that, and then he's like 100 feet in the air, and you're like, wait, where did he
Or all of a
go?
sudden they're in a steel box. You're like, God damn it.
Yeah, how did you get there? What? I'm still trying to get 2 floors up. Like, and they always get you so fast. Like, it's great. But it's funny, though. It makes me laugh, because I'm like, good one, man, good one.
Yeah. My favorite thing to watch is, and I've even looked this up on YouTube videos before, is watching people die from fall damage on that game. They'll get way up on this structure, and then someone just knocks the bottom out.
And you're just you're like, oh, that's not how that's supposed to work.
I didn't know we were going to talk about Fortnite today, man. This is fun.
Yeah, and you never know where it's gonna go. Yeah, that game makes me laugh so much, just from like just the silly stuff that people do. Like, I had one guy who was supposed to be a duo partner with me, and then like totally took me out, and then like danced afterwards, and I was like, dude, we're on a team. I forget. Well,
My son could. He's like, watch, I'm gonna, and he named it, and then he started like with the loser dance with the L on your forehead dance, like on the person that he just shot.
I don't know what it is. I do know the teabag thing, but I don't know the other thing. Like the teabag thing is the one that makes me laugh the most because it's just you just like pressing the squat button back and forth, and like it doesn't really work at all. But like people insist on doing it. It just makes they do it in no matter what game you play. Apex, Battlefield, Call of Duty, does not matter. Like if you got a good kill, some guy just runs up. He could be like standing on your knees or your feet, and he's like trying to teabag, and you're like, all right, guy, whatever.
Just hear some kid going,
yeah, you suck, you're trash, and they move on. You're just like, all right, whatever.
People haven't heard Megan's episode, go listen to that. But if you're hearing it for the first time, let them know what you guys are working on.
Yeah. So right now we're doing a cool fundraiser. You can bring down some school supplies, a minimum of $10, and you'll get a free pre-roll. We're trying to get some school supplies together to give away to Grand Rapids Public Schools, some students and stuff. So you can help out the community and get high at the same time. So we're working on the ad for that right now. It'll be up on our Instagram if you need any more information, or you can call the shop. We'll give you more details.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't hear about that one the last time. Did that kind of come up on the radar fairly recently?
Yeah, just kind of popped up. We're just like, we might not be able to do a whole lot, but it doesn't hurt to do something.
Yeah, and if everybody does a little bit, that's something big.
Exactly. So we're trying to get that information out there so that people can donate, contribute, and get free weed. Yeah. We've also got coming up a movie night, which will be in early September.
I'm going to be there. It doesn't sound like my vote's going to get through, but I'm still going to be there.
You can vote online. There's more information on the Instagram post. There's a form there you can fill out, put your suggestion on what movie, but it'll be movie, weed, and waffles.
And if anybody wants to, I wrote in The Burbs, the 91 classic with Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
That movie's amazing. I don't know if anybody wants to get stoned and watch that with me. I'll be doing that at my house separately, I guess.
You only need a few more votes to beat everybody else out. So
there you go. Everybody write in The Burbs.
But fill that out. You can get a vote on that. We'll also have a dab bar here. Ooh. And then we'll also have, what is it? There's a company downtown, Social Misfits. Yeah. That restaurant downtown. They're coming down here. They're going to be bringing us some biscuit waffle sandwiches, which that'll be awesome. You can buy those, and then you can just chill, hang out. We'll be doing it right here on the front lawn. So you can just chill, hang out, smoke, have a waffle, get a dab. That'll be awesome. Oh, yeah. Then we've also got Puff and Paint, which will be later on this month, the 27th. I'll be instructing a painting class, which will be just like a little smoke image on the side of a mountain, a little landscape image. And then Megan's doing like a moss art thing. I believe her class is already filled up, but if you want to sign up for mine, you can.
Yeah.
But that'll be on the 27th. And then right coming up next weekend, I believe it is, will be the artist market on the 20th.
Yay, and I'll be there, and I'll have the microphones out and my books, so by all means, people.
Yeah, come on down. We'll have more artists this time than I think we've had any other time.
Yeah. I'm excited to see it, because just like Megan and I talked about on the last one, the jump in, like, just excitement in the air from the first one to the second one was, like, super noticeable almost immediately.
Yeah, and we're anticipating a lot more people showing up this time because of that.
Yeah.
Just the drastic change in the two events. So we were able to get in contact with Tanglefoot, so we're borrowing their parking lot, which is just across the street from us right there on the other side of the parking lot.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to go over there, park, and come over here.
The parking with the construction back there was kind of a concern for a minute.
Yeah, they kind of like that whole road, straight street, will be under construction, so it's a little hard for us to park over there like we planned on it.
Yeah.
But this way, though, which is cool, because we're using that Tanglefoot lot, we'll have this whole gravel lot behind the dispensary completely filled with artists. As well as like Basalt will be out here. You can buy a taco if you want, and then Redemption will be out here sponsoring the Toke Tent. So there's potentially some free weed up here for you at the Toke Tent.
Oh yeah. And I just found out from your guys' posts that my tent will be near the Toke Tent this time too.
Oh yeah, we moved you right next to it, so you got easy access to all the weed.
Now I'll be right over there the whole time, and I'll just keep an eye on my booth. Oh, I'll be right back.
Yeah, there you go. Make it easy for you. So yeah, the Toke Tent will be up. We've got a few other vendors here. I know Stizzy, and also I think Tree Town will also be up here. But yeah, we got a few sponsorship, and then I'm hoping. I think I have about 45 artists signed up, but a few I'm waiting on some confirmations on. But we should be having close to 40 artists this time around popping up here.
That's like almost double what the first one was, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think the first one was like 21 or 22 or something like that.
And all the booths were great, too.
Yeah.
They were great at the second one, too, but I was surprised
I'm
how
excited.
concentratedly good everybody was.
Exactly.
Like, I thought there would be, I guess, if anybody's booth was the stinker, it was probably mine, because everyone else had, like, really nice displays and everything else. But yeah, it's not. If anybody's like, I mean, an art market at a pot shop. No, it's. I would put this up against any of the similar events in town.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we're just getting started.
And yeah, that was just your first and second one, only a month apart from each other.
Yeah, like we're anticipating, because we're definitely going to do this next year. Like, there's no way we're not going to do this. But like, if we're going to do this next year,
been huge. People are like, oh, I didn't even come here for the weed. I came here just for this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, everyone's going to be coming out here. We're going to have so many more people come out here, and it's just going to get busier. Hopefully, we'll have more food stuff too. So we're hoping to get like a smoothie or a drink vendor out here or something like that. So you can stay out here even longer. You can just chill, hang out, smoke, grab some food, grab some art, grab some weed.
And I know a guy who wants to get a part of the food vendor thing too. I can talk more with you after this.
Networking, you never know. You know a guy.
Yeah. I told him about it. He was like, dude, yeah. So
nice. We'll have to get that too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be a good time. I'm really looking forward to this one. This will probably be the best one yet, for sure.
Oh, dude, I'm excited because the first one was fun, but you just saw like things changing on the fly and things where people were like, Megan was going by and people were just saying, hey, I need this, or oh, do you have this? And it just like all of a sudden that stuff was just there the next time. You know what I mean? So it felt like the first one was almost like a dress rehearsal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the second one, everything felt like super ironed out, and people were genuinely like coming on the did you listen to any of the people that I interviewed?
Yeah.
They were like excited.
Yeah, and which is cool. Like, that's awesome that happens like that. And because we're like, just for you too, just like everybody else, like we don't want to charge a rental fee for any of the artists. Like, this should be a totally free event. Like, we already own this lot. There's no reason why we can't just donate the space pretty much to artists to be able to make some money on their own
some
goods.
Artists go to places to try to get, that exposure that everybody's trying to put on them. And they're like, yeah, man, I was just happy to break even.
Yeah, I'm just happy to break even. And sometimes they spend a couple $100 just to rent a space.
Yeah.
And like that's not fair. Like, you don't know what that money's guaranteed. You don't know if that money's coming in, if someone's going to buy that or not. Mm-hmm. Why not just make it free, so then you're just guaranteed to be in the black?
Yeah.
Like, we want to make sure that's that way.
And, something like doing it at a dispensary, kind of makes the most sense, because the dispensary doesn't need to make money on the art.
No. They're
going to make money on the weed regardless, and that's going to just pull more people that didn't even come to Farmhouse Wellness. Oh, hey, let's get some weed over here.
Exactly. So, like, it's a one-stop shop.
It's great to see that local connection that Casey and you guys have here, where you're like, let's do stuff for the local artists, not let's do stuff for ourselves and use the local artists.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was the main thing. Like, we had talked about that too, because we brought up the rental thing, and we all kind of were like, well, why would we do that? Like, what's the point in us doing that? Like, we shouldn't be charging for something that is not only we already own it, it's completely free to us, when we know that you're also struggling at the same time to like get, or I mean, like, you may or may not be, but I mean, like, most artists are starving artists.
Yeah.
Like, what is something that we can benefit you with that? That's the easiest thing that we can do. Mm-hmm. And then also be able to just have like food up here and other artists up here and people coming up here. We can bring that community towards you, to you. Why not provide that? Why not give that opportunity to you? So we've been making sure that we want to make sure that even years going forward that stays the same. We don't want that to change, like, just because there's more people here. Oh, yeah, let's charge a rental fee. Like, no, we want to make sure it stays free. Make sure that people still come up here and they can still benefit from this without, like, having to worry about, like, what's going in our pockets. Like, let's focus on you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure somewhere in that meeting they were like, this guy with the podcast has to be at all of these, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. He came up here before. He's talking for... Yeah, let's talk to Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucy's mom, Miss Patty, is the greatest. She's so sweet.
Well, why don't you guys message me next time she brings in a plate of something?
Oh yeah, I'll send you a message.
I'm at that point now where I usually say, anything else we need to talk about? Anything else on your mind?
Yeah, if you check out my website, it is my poor little hippo decided to eat all the content on my website, so I'm revamping everything on there.
Okay. I was going to say, I think I saw like an under construction thing on there, right?
Yeah, under construction right now. I've been resetting a bunch of stuff. Fresh.
It's just too old, it's not you anymore, right?
Too old. It needs a good revamping and stuff, so it'll be updated. I should have those up by the end of the month, though, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it. Artist market, puff and paint, movie night, farmhouse, sweet art, yeah. I do want to say, though, actually, I forgot to mention this. I started reading your book.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. Yeah, their camaraderie makes me laugh. It's adorable. I love it.
Thanks for coming on here, and I don't know, man. There's a lot of things to thank you for, so just thank you. Thank you all the things that you're doing here, for all the stuff that you're putting into the world creatively, and for just being a fun hang, man.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
And for letting me call you man. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm trying to get better at the gendered language thing.
Me too.
I've got 2 daughters who are very plugged in and like telling me like, hey, man, you know.
The patriarchy is bullshit. Knock it off with the gendered language.
So I'm working on it. I'm
working on making it a normal thing for me to constantly address everyone by they, them first until they've openly told me who they are.
I'm trying to do that too. And there's someone that I know goes by they, and they were talking about someone else who goes by they, but slipped and said she, and I was like, you know how you always correct me? They're like, yeah, like you just said she. Oh my! And they were like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I was like, chill, it's fine. Yeah. It's fine. It was an accident.
Yeah.
But like, because they had busted me on it so many times, then I finally got them like,
That's
misgendered somebody. Ah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get on that too, because like it's just a matter of like unplugging and plugging, like reorganizing your brain. That's all it is. Like once you get that habit in, like it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I understand where maybe some of the older people are coming with. We're like,
I don't know why you have to change all the language.
Like that would be confusing and frustrating when you've gone 40, 50, 60, 70 years just being like, hi gals, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody having a problem with it till all of a sudden it's like, you're an asshole. Like.
Exactly. Like I can see how like suddenly the norm is no longer the norm.
Yeah.
Like I get that. I totally get it. I totally understand that. My dad's like very old school when it comes to that. Like, but I'm just like, okay, well, you know, eventually, hopefully, it'll become the new norm for things to like eventually change. I get you grumpy. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know why you're grumpy. You don't have to be grumpy anymore. Just, you know, be patient. You make mistakes, make efforts. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm trying to work on that for sure, because I've definitely like I have quite a few friends in the gay community. I mean, like I myself consider myself a part of it, but as a bi person, you know how a lot of people don't really count you in that. So like I don't really.
Well, I'm not bi, so I don't have like that direct knowledge or experience. So no, that's. Well, you know, I guess I have heard people say.
A lot of people in the gay community see bi people as like someone who's confused or hasn't decided yet if they are going to be gay or not. Like if you're in a heteronormative relationship that you are not gay at all just because of
even
that.
And that could trigger people that are listening now. But like Dave Chappelle does a car joke about all the letters in LGBTQ being in one car together trying to get to like a better place.
Yeah.
And then when they pick up the B like looks around like, I'm not really sure what's going on. I just know I want to be in this car right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. I do remember that joke too.
And I was, so yeah, it was, okay, I guess there is, if Dave Chappelle's even talking about it, there probably is a stigma.
Yeah. He there's a few stigmas and stuff, but I mean, like every community is working on that stuff in one way or another. There's a little push and take with it.
Yeah. I was at the Pride Parade, and well, not parade, but the festival part. And there was a guy who was walking around with his wife, and his shirt said "Buy wife energy."
That's something my boyfriend would wear.
Yeah.
That's something my boyfriend would wear for sure. But yeah, like it's just something that I'm just trying to, yes, I may not be a they them person, but I understand the recognition of wanting to have like just mutual respect on first interaction.
Yeah.
Like when you're first introduced to somebody. So like I'm trying to change that. There will be mistakes that happen. You're not always going to make it correct, but if you keep correcting yourself and you keep making that effort and keep making that change, like eventually it won't be hard.
Yeah.
It'd be easy.
Yeah.
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 That's the plan, at least.
I think some people too, just like, there's just so much to remember, man. It used to be you were a boy, you were a girl, you were a boy that felt like a girl, you were a girl that felt like a boy. You liked people of the opposite sex.
Yep.
You liked people of the same sex.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit of both. But now it's like, well, sometimes I'm non-binary, sometimes I express masculine, but I still feel feminine. It's like,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. We got so many boxes now. There used to be like 8.
Yeah, for me, I always tell people this all the time. Like, look, let's be honest. Like, I don't understand any of it. I don't understand what it's like to be trans. I don't understand what it's like to be this or that or whatever it may be. But like, let's be honest. Like, it's not meant for me to understand. It's just meant for me to respect it.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
It's
I've heard not those words, but that sentiment so many times, and I think it's so right on. You know what I mean?
Because it's not my life.
Yeah.
It's not me who's trying to be this or that or anything like that. But like, if you tell me that you don't like this, okay, let me not do that.
Yeah.
If you say that this is not okay for this, I'm not that person. I can't sit here and have an opinion on something that like I'm not a part of, you know? Like it's not me. Like I can say how I feel about it or whatever it is, but like the reality of the situation is your opinion is far more accurate being a part of a community that I'm not a part of.
And speaking of being a part of a community that not many people are a part of, being LGBTQ and black in Grand Rapids, because like somebody had told me, and I was amazed when I heard it, not in a good way, that the city of Grand Rapids is like 21% black and shrinking. And when you compare that to most cities in Michigan, that's so small. So obviously black people have not been treated well in Grand Rapids in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, up until 71, you could legally discriminate against somebody here. And Marcel Price, Fable the poet, he was...
I don't know him, but I think I've met him before. Me and Megan were just talking about him.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy, and they're doing some really cool stuff at the Diatribe. But he was telling me that there's some houses on the south side, which is where they do all their stuff, is in the 49507.
Mm-hmm.
That if you look at the deeds to the house to this day, it still says in the deed, this home shall not be sold to a black person.
Yeah, there's quite a few of those out here. There's you'd be surprised. Like
a lot of the white people in the suburbs, are like
that can't be true.
That can't be true. But like you have to realize that like this, not just in Grand Rapids, this whole nation, like the housing community was built on redlining.
Yeah.
It was built,
which a lot of people, and I'm not even gonna lie, myself included, when he told me about redlining prior to our interview, I was like, what is that? And I looked it up, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, this is why, like my boyfriend's white, and we're looking at houses now. Like, I've even told him that when he goes to talk to brokers and bankers and all that stuff, I won't be going with him.
Yeah.
Because just me being a black girl, just me being a black girl in that office, he could get less than what he probably would be qualified for, just because I'm standing next to him. And like, I don't want to do that to him, and I hate that the world still works this way. But like we got to change this. Like, it can't stay like that. You literally couldn't buy anything.
There are people doing stuff about that too. I interviewed Chaton Brigham, him and his wife own GR Noir, the wine and jazz bar, and his wife. I think she's getting her doctorate in like social justice. So she works for a lot of companies around here and like makes sure that everything is equitable, basically, from a business standpoint. And so you have people moving things in the right direction, but just the fact that people have to work that hard and fight that hard, just for
a place to live,
respect.
Yeah,
and that people are. Yeah, and we had talked about people on the calling in to banks and going, "Hello, I'd like to sign up for," like just trying to sound as white as you can on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, like I hate to say it, but like I've definitely done that with just interviews too, with jobs. Like, it's not that I try to on purpose, but like I know that, you know the judgment where people preconceive who you are with the name on a resume.
Yeah.
because your name says LaShonda on it, she's not going to get that interview versus Sarah over here because Sarah sounds more like this person or like what you're assuming that person may be versus LaShonda.
Yeah.
So you pick that person over the other person. And like I can't tell you how many times I've shown up for interviews because my name's Ashley Nash, and people will kind of get that look of like, oh.
Sounds like a country singer.
I thought, you're the interviewee. You're the person coming in to talk. You're the person coming in. Oh, okay. And the double take of just like, oh, she's black.
Yeah.
And like I've always found it comical. I've always thought it was hilarious because to me, I'm just like, you got me in here now. You can't just shoo me away. You got to talk to me.
Like, well, all right.
You weren't anticipating this, but let me surprise you.
Yeah, I remember somebody, same thing. I don't know if you follow Michigan State basketball at all, but my parents love Michigan State basketball, and my dad saw that this was years ago when they were like national championship winners. They had just signed a guy after the national championship named Alan Anderson from Minnesota.
Oh.
And my dad said, I just saw a game on TV. Alan Anderson from Minnesota is a black guy. I was like, yeah. He's like, I just assumed it would be a white guy. Alan Anderson from Minnesota. Like, there's black people everywhere, Dad. They don't all have
we don't
black
all,
names.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It just makes me laugh. Like, I understand, like that. It's not okay. It's not cool for you to do that or anything. But I just personally get a kick
by the way,
out of
I
it.
air quoted black names just so that people know that I'm not like.
Yeah, let's clarify it.
Oh, you don't have a black name. Good for you. No, yeah.
Like there's such a thing as like black names and like white names and stuff. It just all of it just makes me laugh how much effort some people put into that stuff. But like it just.
Well, the really funny thing is I knew a black guy named Mario, and one time I was like, why do black people like Italian names so much? And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, Mario, that's an Italian name. He's like, no, that's a black name.
That's a black name.
I was like, dude, Super Mario Brothers. Like, no, Mario, it's an Italian name. It comes from Italy.
No.
And he's like, no, we took it. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
We made our own stuff.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh all the time when I see that stuff all the time, especially with interviews. That sheer look of just like, oh, you walked in here. That wasn't what I was ready for.
Yeah, you come sit down like, I'm sorry. We needed Ashley. Oh, you're Ashley?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because every other famous Nash that I can think of was Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. Super white dude in that. And Steve Nash,
basketball
Canadian
player.
white dude.
Yep. Every other Nash I've met has always been white, too. The only other black Nashes I know are all of my family members.
Yeah, well, there you go. Flipping the script on what a white name is and what a black name is.
Yeah.
Ashley Nash.
Yeah. I know random.
Not a country singer from Oklahoma.
Yeah. On the road again.
You could do it. You could do it if you wanted to. Not saying you can't do it.
Just gotta try.
Yeah. Yeah, there have been like 3 black country singers in the history of country music, so it can happen.
Which, like, speaking of preconceived notions, this is just a story back in like high school or college and stuff. But I remember meeting my roommates. This is when you're unlearning stuff. You know, when you unlearn things and everything.
Yeah. Oh, did you have to go through a period of like, yes, black people like Pop-Tarts, like?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I had my fair share too, because my stigma was always like, well, you know, when you hear someone singing, you can tell the difference between a black person and a white person. You can hear the difference. And my roommates at the time were like, hey, and they're all white, mind you. Like, I'm the only black person in the room. They're like, really? You sure about that? And I was like, yeah. So they put on this guy. I forget his name. I can't remember what his name
Sam
was.
Smith.
I think, no, it wasn't Sam Smith. It wasn't Sam Smith.
Because
it was a country singer.
When I taught at a 99% black school, they were all like, Sam Smith's a white dude. I'm like,
yeah.
like, I thought he was black for sure.
Yeah.
Like, no.
No, it just made me laugh because he was
White,
like,
British, and gay.
They're playing this like country song and stuff. They're like, huh, can you tell? And I'm listening. I was like, it's a white guy. It's a white guy. They like turn the screen around. It's this like black guy who's like blacker than black, and he's singing this country song. And I'm just like, whoa. They're like, yeah.
It wasn't.
You saw.
It wasn't. What's his face? It wasn't Hootie from Hootie and the Blowfish.
No.
I know that's not his name. I just can't think of his actual name right now.
I can't remember what his name. I thought it was like John something or Smith something.
Yeah.
But he looks like every other country singer out there. He's just black.
Yeah.
And it just caught me off guard. I was like, maybe there's some things I need to unlearn too.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to unlearn some stuff, so never hurts.
I caught somebody that said that, they're like, oh, I can tell the difference between a black person and a white person singing. And it was a black girl that I knew in high school, and I played Janis Joplin. She goes, oh, it's a black girl. Well, nope.
Nope, not at all. Not in the slightest. She sounds like it, but no.
The rest of her band is black, but she's white.
Yep. It like you can't assume anything. You gotta just wait and find out or ask questions. That's it. Just ask questions.
Yeah. Which is what I do here on this podcast. Thank you for letting me ask you a bunch of questions. I had fun getting to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, this is nice talking to you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And this will be out Monday ahead of the last art market of the year. So
nice.
I'll see you at that too.
Sounds good. See you then.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody. That was Ashley Nash. Check out all her art. Go to the links in the show notes and check out her Instagram. Follow her Instagram. Check out... I tried to knock my microphone off the stand. Check out Pharmhouse Wellness and their Instagram as well, and their Facebook page and all that. It's in the show notes to stay up to date with their events that Ashley is behind. Support Ashley, support Pharmhouse Wellness, and support me. You can buy my book, too. Just throwing that out there. All right, folks. Have a good one. Mwah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Weird, right?